Hi, everybody. We are here with Kathy Clendening. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Kathy has lived in Delphi for, what did you say, over 20 years?
Yeah, probably 24 years now.
24 years. And so
Yep.
we're just going to talk to her today and just get like a local's perspective on the case overall and how it affected like the locals. And so thank you, Kathy, for coming and giving us your perspective.
No, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk and give my perspective, my opinions, my truth, whatever I have to say today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, can you take us back to when you first heard that Abby and Libby were missing?
Um, the day I was at work, uh, see, I didn't hear anything until that evening when I got off work. I mean, I guess it happened whatever the times are. I'm not a person that has followed the case, so I can't tell you what time Richard Allen got there, or what time he left, or anything like that. But I know when I got home, a good friend of mine called me. She said, "Did you hear about the girls missing?" And I said, "No, what girls?" And she said, "Libby and Abby." And she said that they were out on the Monon High Bridge, and that they were off today and they can't find them, and that there's a search party. This is around 5:30 that day on the 13th. um we talked for a little bit. Her daughter was also in the same school. She was a couple grades younger than them, so nobody thought anything. I woke up the next morning. I personally did not know um, Becky Patty or Mike Patty or any of them. I've lived here 24 years. I came from Indianapolis. I've seen these people, but personally, friend wise, I didn't know them. I woke up the next day and it was on the news. Um, and pretty much that's how everything got started. I think later on that day is when I can't remember who came on the news and told us, that they found the girls, and that they, about that. It was it Mullins. I just can't remember. I think it was Steve Mullins. But that's pretty much when we realized, that something tragically happened.
And so, like you were yourself were not involved in the search, but like, was it like the talk of the town, or was it just like kind of like people weren't really that concerned?
That morning there was a lot of people that like we have volunteer fire department here. We also have, our small sheriff's department, city police, very,
Mhm.
small departments. They were all called to come search. I believe they're, EMS people, things like that, people that weren't working, you know me, I went to work that day. So yeah, there was a lot of things going on. Yes.
And so, when you heard that they had found them and what the result was, what like what did that like do to your town and the community? Like,
um Well, for one, we we didn't exactly know anything except for they were murdered. Um, that day, maybe days after, there was like rumors of their necks being cut. Um, just different things, just different things coming out with those couple days. Um, the first search that they had, I mean, we all sat and listened to the scanner. They were out there. We thought, oh my gosh, they found them. I mean, I guess we thought that they would arrest a person right away. That, you know, um that for me, where the trails are, where it was at, I mean, it wasn't a stranger. It had to be somebody that been there before. I
Hmm.
never ever felt that it was a stranger off of the road. I always felt that it was a local, always.
So was there like did everybody in town kind of like know who had been on the trails that day, or was that like something that there was like rumors surrounding, or um
um I really think like, so immediately they set up like the command posts, in the different places. Things got moved, things got bigger. As soon as they asked for help, I think their phone lines just went crazy.
mhm.
Thousands and thousands of phone calls, people from across the country, world. I mean, it was an amazing outpour of people that wanted to help, that thought that they may have that tip. You know, um, I believe it was very overwhelming for them in the beginning. I really had no part of it except for, I know when they moved into the old REMC building and they were taking the phone calls, things like that, we as a community would take snacks and drinks and things like that and leave downstairs for them.
So there was early on there was that motorcycle ride, and I know that the news had said that there was going to be like they anticipated like a large turnout, but
Mhm,
nothing as large as what ended up showing up. Was
mhm.
that like when did you realize that like this was kind of a
Well,
whole.
that actual day, the Office Tavern, every first Saturday of the month, they have hog nuts and a fish fry, and so we kind of go there every now and then for that. And we knew that there was going to be a motorcycle ride. The gentleman Brad Henry, um, is I just a motorcycle. I mean, we ride too. He just somebody around here that rides and goes on rides, and he put it together within like what, a couple days,
Mhm.
and the word just spread very fast, and lots and lots and lots of bikers came, just lots and lots and lots. Um, I've never I've seen this before. I've seen, biker funerals before. I've been to one before in Indianapolis.
Mhm.
I've seen a lady, her husband was head of ABATE, which is American Bikers Aimed Towards Education. She died. She was big in there. It was one of the largest funerals I've ever seen with bikers. But this here, because I think it was children, it it hit really hard, you
Mhm.
know. Um, they just kept coming. We got to the office, me and my husband, around 9:30, 10 o'clock. They brought in this helium balloon thing, and they brought balloons, and I blowed up balloons for like hours and hours and hours. My fingers were raw, and people, I'm not kidding you. So, man, people just kept coming and coming and coming. The gas station across the street, the locals were coming out and standing on the streets. There was a couple drones up in the air. It was really overwhelming, just extremely overwhelming. Just the love and
Yeah, yeah.
support.
I
I
live in
mean,
a very small town, and I just like I can't really imagine like because the I think the amount that showed up was like double the amount of your
oh
town's population, like
yeah,
in the
there had
first
to
place.
be. I mean, we've had the same 5,000 people here, I believe, for 100 years. They say we don't grow in
Yeah.
population, and there had to at least been 6 to 7,000 bikers at one point. So we were parked up front where the families were. Carrie came in, and she was going to be riding in a Corvette because they had some Corvettes and things at the end. My son was there with his Harley. Me and my husband. His wife was away in Disney with my grandbaby. And so Carrie rode with him. And so we actually got to ride up front behind Becky and Anna. And it was an experience. I couldn't stop crying.
Hmm.
and uh just they literally, there were so many people that the Indiana State Police just stayed in front of us, and just the bikes didn't stop until we got to Monticello, Indiana, to bar call.
Oh,
There, are you still there?
Kathy. Yeah, I
I'm
am.
sorry. Yeah, they're right across the street from Indiana Beach, so all these bikes had parking, and it was huge. And then after it was over, it was the same day as the funeral, and I did not go, um, but we did go by some of the bikes and everybody to, kind of rev the engines. I guess it's a respect thing. I don't know what it is. Gosh, I don't know, but there was just people lined up all the way out the school to the street. So that was an overwhelming day. Very.
Yeah, I bet. So, like, um, did was there like a over like lying fear that kind of sunk into the town, or would you say that
I
like
think I think the first 3 days, because nobody knew what happened, like, what happened, and then the funeral, and then, after that, and that's when the rumor and things started going around about what happened, or things like that, just whatever. And so, yeah, people were a little more afraid to, you know be outside, or your kids. The first Halloween that we had, the older gentleman from the Vietnam veterans volunteered to go around and walk the neighborhoods so the kids would feel safe to trick or treat. Um, I know they worked hard looking for the person, because they had a smoke detector blitz, which was, they've never had one before as long as I've lived here. They went door to door changing people's smoke detectors.
which
And
everybody, I'll just take a second right here to tell you guys to check your smoke detectors and change your batteries. Just
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. I just did mine today as I was cleaning. Yes, yes. But they did. I mean, they did the whole community of Delphi. They did the outer community in Carroll County. Flora did it. Camden did it. Everyone. And I really think it was more, instead of, that, it was that they were looking to see if the killer was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I mean, why would you go door to door putting in smoke detectors? They didn't. They've never done it since. So
so did you have like that feeling of just like looking at every single person and being like, are you the guy? Like, did you have that feeling that it was like
actually,
somebody right next to you, basically?
actually, I mean, to tell you the truth, when I looked at the picture, I didn't see anybody. I mean, to
Yeah.
God honest, I didn't see anybody. I mean, like, my, I have a friend, he's like 5'2", really short guy, and he wears a bidet type hat. And people would look at him because that's what everybody said he was. Not bidet, but whatever. I think, I don't know. I mean, I thought it looked like everyone.
Hmm.
Didn't you?
I mean, it really, really did.
I mean,
And
like,
then
I'm going to tell you, I think it looks like Donald J. Trump.
I mean, it
It really
literally could
does. I
be
mean, like the
anybody.
facial structure,
Yeah.
for me, it could have been anyone. And that voice, you know, the pieces that they put out, was so missing. You know what I mean? Just this words and this words, here and there, nothing complete. If it would have been complete, I really think it might have been a different outcome.
Hmm.
But I really think that it just was so overwhelming for them. I don't know, you know. Um, I'm not a police officer. I wasn't there. I wasn't on the scene. I didn't go. I didn't find those bodies.
Yeah.
You know.
When
I,
the video came out, like, were you? What were your feelings when you saw that?
Oh, when they finally put out the video and him
Uh-huh.
and him talking, made me feel a little ill to my stomach. Only because I'm like, I don't know if you know, but um at one point my son and daughter-in-law moved two doors down from Richard Allen, and they
Yeah,
had
that's
lived
wild.
there almost 4.5 years, 5 years, and it's a little cul-de-sac. I have a granddaughter, you know so um I have a lot of ill feelings towards that. I have a different set of feelings than everyone else does because I had a granddaughter there. You
Mhm.
know, I I was here when the families, that day of the bike ride, and saw their eyes. I see them daily,
Mhm.
all the time. It's not like everyone else. They don't see this. They don't. They have opinions, and they speculate. You know, um, that's I think some of that's what bothers me the most. They don't know these people, but
Mhm.
they assume who they are and what they're about. I've read so many bad things about these families that it's like I've actually looked for these things.
Mhm.
like like I don't see it. I just like don't see it. Kelsey German has to be the sweetest of the whole family. I think Becky's a sweetheart, a very nice person, but Kelsey is just adorable. Um, you know, I've read so many bad things people's wrote about Kelsey. You know, if you she used to work at the Coles. You go in there and she's just she reminds me a little bit of Gay Lynn, that just a smile and a personable person and just a really good-hearted person. And so then when I read these things that people put out there about her, it's like, really? Who are you? I
Yeah.
mean, please. Kelsey dropped those girls off.
Yeah.
She did not kill her sister. Okay. I really, you know, I don't know where all this came from. It's like in the beginning, it was the Facebook groups, and gray
Mhm.
use. Let's get
Yeah.
gray in there. Woo! And so, like you were talking, our community, so these Facebook groups started popping up. And so we started joining them because we
Mhm.
thought they were support groups. Little did we know that they were sleuth groups. Okay. A lot of people didn't understand that. I didn't. I didn't follow true crime. I didn't even know who Gray Hughes was until this happened.
Mhm.
I mean, this was all just like, okay. And then there was so many bad things that were starting to be said, and people were already sleuthing and friending people from the community. And yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I got three friends out of it. They were Gray Hughes's ladies, I'll call them. Yeah, we used to message all the time.
Yeah. And Cassie, I feel like I would be remiss to use this as an opportunity that I used to question Kelsey, and I apologize like for that
Oh,
from back then. But like I was listening to her the other day and I was thinking about like how when I come on here to just do like a live that I get like nervous and stuff. And
mhm,
that she was only 16 years old and she
mhm,
was like um representing like and
mhm.
how like scary that is that they never caught the killer. So anybody that came forward and like was talking was literally at risk because he was just right there in the community if it was Richard
I
Allen,
mean, Kelsey lost her best friend. her
Yeah.
sister. I mean, I'm like, I don't know how people expected her to act, or for how Anna should act, or how Becky should act, or Tara, or Mike, or Derek. you know I mean, that was their tragedy,
Yeah.
just the same as Galen. She lost four children at one time.
Mhm.
How do you process that? You
I have
know?
no
Eh,
idea. And like Mike and Becky too, like when Kelsey did that interview with James Renner, and
mhm.
she's at the restaurant and she gets like a call from them. I I can't even imagine being them and still like allowing Kelsey to have a life after that, because I mean, really, if you think about it, like everybody in the community probably was scared or nervous because they hadn't caught the guy, but especially like them, I like, how do you allow your kid to still have a life after that? It would be difficult, you know?
I don't know about you, but my son, we was at the zoo, and he decided he wanted to go to the gift shop, and I thought I lost him. I thought someone took him. Just that actual feeling of him being gone,
Uh-huh.
and he came back. So I can't imagine what they go through. I literally can't, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and in the beginning, you know, I watched the families go everywhere and put up posters, and they went to all these festivals all over Indiana for years,
Hmm.
years. And Becky ended up getting cancer, you know, and a lot of stress causes cancer too, and bet they had to slow down, Becky's health. And people don't get it. They did try. They went everywhere. They, she mailed posters and stickers, and their dedication was unbelievable. Actually was unbelievable.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so like how did the locals feel about the police and like the perception of law enforcement and the media, and how did like that change over the years?
So for weeks, we were hiding from the media. they wanted they just wanted to talk to somebody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And what do you say? What is it that you say about two murdered children? you know and they were here forever on the street corners, and standing in front of the gas stations doors, standing in front of the grocery store. They were everywhere. The whole around the courthouse was full of police and FBI cars, and just literally stayed like that for months. I mean, this case just blew up. It was huge, just huge, you know and the support that the family used to get prior to some of this stuff that's happened before Richard Allen was arrested, you know, blows me away. You know, now there's some sort of bad people when they're not.
Yeah.
You know, they've had their own, they they didn't deserve this, and they definitely don't deserve what some people say about them. Let's just say that they don't.
Yeah, definitely. um for sure. And like, I do you think that sorry, I lost my place on my little notes over here.
Oh, you're
So
fine.
um like, when you heard that Richard Allen had been arrested, like, do you remember how
Oh
you
yeah.
heard
Yeah, oh yeah, I know how I
or
heard,
where you heard?
because I was at work that day, and I came home, and I stopped at my son and daughter-in-law's, and they told me about the search that happened that was two doors down, and was telling me all about it. And then I got a little confused. I was like, oh yeah, okay. When they told me, like, Ashley, like so at 11 o'clock, around 11 or something like that, the daycare person saw the police bring Richard Allen back. She doesn't ever remember seeing him leave with them, but she remembers him coming back, and he stayed. Then through that time, um around 11:30 or so is when my daughter-in-law got home, and she saw them coming in, the crime scene, different people like that, different vehicles, da 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 da. But I don't think the search actually happened till like 8 o'clock, when Liggett showed up with the warrant.
Did they know that's what they were searching his house for, or did they
Kathy
just
Allen and Kathy Allen and Richard Allen stood out in the yard. At one point, Kathy left and come back, and then some lady came, and some guy in a suit. Couldn't tell you.
okay? And
And
so
they sit in the van, he sat in the car with god dang it, Holman. I didn't see this, but I can tell you that somebody sat at the end of their driveway with binoculars and saw it. So,
yeah, um,
and they also sold the pictures to HLN that was showed. So all the pictures of what happened that day, so I can tell you for a fact, you know, that did they watched the car being pulled, towed out, the whole thing. And they weren't there that long. They were
they
there all day, and then the search warrant came, and boom boom, grab, gone. You know what I mean?
yeah. So they just had like they were just sitting outside like most of the time.
Yes,
That's
pretty
interesting.
much the whole day.
And then so once they had like done that search and they didn't arrest Richard Allen, what was like the tone after that? Like,
Well,
because
because
didn't
nobody knew. Nobody, no. Okay, so that day, one of the daycare parents posted on the Carroll County community page. It's the Carroll County news and information page. She posted, "What's going on White Man Drive?" Well, at the time, and we'll have to go backwards a little bit, but our community was being sued for the Hatch Act, and
right?
that was Angela Sadowski and Sue Wright. So this was prior to Richard Allen ever getting arrested. So the political stuff, they were in the group, so that stuff would be brought up a lot. So somebody, I don't know what was all posted. I have screenshots of it. I can send it to you, the exact post where the lady posted it. Then underneath of it, I don't know, Sue Wright posted something political, and then my son posted something, then my daughter-in-law posted something about politics, because of course, my son knows Tony Liggett, my family, they I know I've said bad things about the guy. I personally don't know him, but you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
there was this post, and all of a sudden they're in there arguing about politics, and it was really about the search at Richard Allen's, and it got deleted. So really nobody in the community knew about it except for the people right there on that road.
Yeah.
Tony Liggett went to um the surrounding houses and talked to them.
Did he? What did he? What did he talk? Like, do you know what he said when he went to talk to them?
No, I do not know.
Because I remember like hearing that that they had searched his house because some tools or something had gotten stolen. Is what I recall of like the
Well,
rumor.
but then
But
if
that,
you but then see, we all know that to be a lie now,
yeah,
because
for
now
sure.
we've watched the 13th interrogation, where Mullins and Liggett had picked him up early that morning on the 13th and brought him in. And then when we see them leave with him, that's when they bring him back here to Whiteman Drive, and him and Kathy were brought outside to stay until they could get the search warrant.
Oh, so that first interview,
Was on
like
the 13th, correct?
I'm not sure of the date, but that's they interviewed him and then they brought him back and waited for the search warrant to go into their house. Is that what you're saying?
I believe that's how it happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the day that that all happened. And then that was the day the lady posted what's going on Whiteman Drive, because she went to pick up her kid from the daycare, and the house had, there was a crime scene. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you've seen the pictures from HLN. So, though all
yeah,
those cars were there. So, what would you think if you're going to go pick up your kid and you're in this little tiny, so you live in a small town? I
I do.
mean,
Yeah,
so of course she immediately posted on Facebook trying to get some information. Well, then Sue Wright starts posting in there about political shit. So it totally got missed. So
yeah,
when I got home, I was there and they were telling me all about it, and of course I was already had a friendship with Angela Sidlowski and Tara McCloskey, and Sue Wright had already brought herself into the picture. I had talked to her, and so immediately I thought they told me his name was Jeff. And I came back and I text Tara and I said, "Oh my God, there's this guy named Jeff Allen. They searched his house today."
mm-hmm.
And think I could show you all the text between me and her. It's so funny because then she had to text me back. "Are you sure his name's not Richard?" Well, because I didn't know their neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah. So that's when Tara and Angela found out who Richard Allen was.
right. And then, so had you ever had any like encounters with Richard Allen,
Just at
like
the
in CVS
CVS.
or whatever?
Yes. Yes. Just at the CVS to pick up my husband's medication.
And like, did you have any like general impressions of him, like to begin with, or was he just kind of like, um, un unremarkable? I don't know if that's like a rude way to put it, but
Um, so there's I come from Indianapolis, so born and raised. So in Indianapolis, people, I mean, in my little community there, we're a little friendly, things like that. But you know what I mean? When you live in a small town, it's different. Everybody's howdy, hi, smiling at you. Zeke, we used to drive down the road after we moved. Hi, Zeke. It was funny, but things like that. So people are very friendly. I don't remember him ever being friendly. I don't remember him ever being anyone that I would want to have a conversation with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But at the time, I never thought he was a killer either. So, you know, he's
yeah.
just a person at the CVS.
So, like, would you say that you were like listening for that voice, like in the back of your mind, like kind of like at all
No,
times,
I
or
don't I don't know who could have been.
yeah,
Those were two little cuts. I
yeah.
mean, when they put it all together, it made more sense. Did it not make more sense when they finally, after court, they put it all together, and we got to hear it all?
I honestly was shocked at how clear that video was, and also like just the quality of the entire video and audio. I was quite surprised by that, and I felt like that should have been released like right away. But I
Day
mean,
one,
obviously,
day one, day one. I agree with you. See, we do agree on something. Day one. I think there was so many mistakes. I mean, I'm just telling you, what voice? I mean, what voice? I mean, like, anybody could. down, you know? I mean, there was no complete sentence. There was nothing to compare it to. It was very, very hard in the back of my mind. I mean, there was times that maybe I would go somewhere or be somewhere and I'd look around and see somebody in a blue jacket with or with one of those kind of hats on, and get a little anxiety, It happened at the
Mhm.
mall once, you know. But then you realize everybody's wearing those blue jackets, Carhartts, and I mean, we live in the country, so
Yeah, I
it's just
I live in a small town, and like camo and Carhartts and jeans and just like that kind of clothing is literally, you could go in Safeways or like the grocery store and like spot multiple people dressed in that kind of attire. Um,
mhm,
so
yeah, you know,
yeah, in general, I feel like do you think that like added to a fear in the community, or like the community honestly feels like you guys all kind of like banded together? Um, but it had to be scary, right?
yeah, yeah, I'm, you know, I didn't. People quit walking the trails, Um, it seemed like parents were a little more harder on kids. They weren't out running around like they did prior to the murder. People were locking their doors when they didn't used to lock their doors before. Yeah, those kind of things, that uneasy feeling, of we don't know who did this.
Yeah, honestly, to this day, I go for walks on this local trail, and it's like it's not covered by trees or anything, but I just always think about like that feeling of like when somebody comes up, and you kind of get like that weird feeling, and then they like walk past you, and you're like, okay, I was just tripping, and just
Yeah.
like
Okay.
imagining like that just
Mhm.
only increasing and increasing is
And,
just like,
and we're adults. Can you
yeah,
imagine? Can you imagine being Libby and Abby when I watched that video and how fast Abby come across those ties? And it looked like maybe Libby was trying to be brave for her. Um,
their
that's
voices
what I
sound
got out
so
of it.
young
You know,
too.
I watched it, I put earphones in, I've listened, I believe
Hmm.
they say I bel- you know, her tone and her voice is loud, and then it's like a whisper. Does sound like to me she says something about a gun. Does sound, and then her tone goes higher, but just I could see the fear, you know. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. I'm an adult, and can't imagine if it's someone, I'm a big chicken, so I
Yeah,
just don't know how, you know, they were young girls.
yeah, it's messed up.
It
So
is.
like, so um I think in general that everybody like um has like, I think people think that the people that think Richard Allen is maybe not the guy, that they are not thinking of Abby and Libby, but I think that in general everybody that follows this case like was captured by both Abby and Libby, and just like how like they used to be described as Delphi's daughters. And I feel like the media kind of like spread that beyond Delphi, because I know myself, like I just thought of myself at like that age, and just like I
Mhm,
have a daughter, and it's just like it
mhm,
really what is off-putting that like they could have just been doing something so innocent as going for a walk and then have that happen. And so
mhm,
I think that people should be, I don't know if I'm not even saying people should or shouldn't be any sort of way, but I've always appreciated how you always spoke to me and answered my questions, and like were open to like having discussions with me. And I think that that really helped me kind of like get a better perspective of like a local's viewpoint. And like you've always been very kind, so I just
Oh,
wanted
you
to say
too.
thank you for
That
that.
a- and that was another reason that I reached out to you, because you're fair, and I think that, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I really not. I mean, yeah, you have to understand. I'm extremely confused about the things that happened when, you know when I met Tara and Angela, their intent, you know um the things that happened afterwards. Um I really think that they had a big influence, Angela did, in spreading some misconceptions about this case. And when I feel like when there's people that know more locals than you do, and you've lived here 24 years, there has to be a problem. I mean, they don't even live here, and they
Yeah.
know more people than I do. I mean, Dale Seward, private eye, out taking fucking pictures of Nick McClellan for these people. Really? At his daughter's basketball game. How rude. How
Yeah.
rude are you people? Dale Seward out taking pictures of Tony Liggett, putting up um signs for his campaign, because I don't know, but that's part of the Hatch Act. I don't know. I think it's illegal. I think when you're working, you're not allowed to put up campaign signs. Fuck, who knows? Who gives a fuck? Okay. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's those things that bother me, in this case. You know, I I met Barbara McDonald because of this case. Okay. And she reached out to Galen's aunt, and there was going to be this documentary for the Flora case. You know what I mean? Down the Hill book had already came out. Da. You know, Barbara always thought it was Ron Logan.
Mhm.
Always. She still, I maybe to this day, believes it was Ron Logan. She told me she sat on the porch with him and he creeped her out so bad she was ready to flip off her flip flops and run.
Mhm.
So, you know, I get it. But see, I've asked the locals that knew Ron Logan, you know, and people say Ron Logan was not the person. But if you dig deep enough into Ron Logan's life, you can find all kinds of things. You can also dig deep enough in my life and find all kinds of things too.
I also have lots of things in my past that people could.
hmm
I mean,
And I know for a fact that one of Ron Logan's girlfriends was drunk at a bar here in Delphi, and she had a really bad experience with this man. None of my business, none of no one else's, but these people literally recorded her when she was telling about her experience,
yeah.
you know, and I get it. We've all had things that's happened to us, okay? Doesn't make us killers. You know what I'm saying? But for her to put out her trauma and them to use it against her for what? A documentary at Banfield, which was a joke. That whole Banfield thing, they'd been working on that for a while, and then Nick, I was kind of like, oh, what's his face's book? Um, Chris Todd, or or whatever his name is, getting ready to release his book on Ron Logan, and they arrest Richard Allen. That's funny.
Do you think that law enforcement bears some responsibility for the speculation kind of in this case, or like do you think that they, I know that in Delphi you guys are very supportive of law enforcement in general, but I think, or maybe I'm being
Just, I guess
presumptive
it
here.
just depends. I mean, like, I've been around a lot of law enforcement in my day. You know, I used to, and when I was 16, be at the Harley shop on 16th Street the night before the 500, snorting coke with one of the motorcycle cops. So, you know, police are police. You know, I'm not gonna say they're all good, and I'm not gonna say they're all bad. I won't
Yeah,
say that. You
yeah,
know,
for sure.
I don't know. I don't know. And it's not that we support our law enforcement. I believe everyone supports law enforcement, especially when they need them.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean, like, I get really, really bothered. Yeah, I like to, you know, I don't want them around for that. But if I need them, I definitely am supporting them. You know, and I know that there's police officers that probably have done some shady shit everywhere,
Mhm.
literally everywhere. George Floyd,
Mhm.
let's just, you know, police are responsible for a lot of things, a
Yeah,
lot of things, but that doesn't make Richard Allen innocent.
right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just because, you know, I mean, mistakes were made. I'm sure maybe they weren't made, but he could have got up and walked out of those interviews at any time. He could have got a lawyer at any time.
Right.
When he told Kathy to get a lawyer, he wasn't thinking about one for himself because he was getting ready to be charged with a double homicide. I mean, really?
I
Mm.
mean, I think it's actually very common for people to think that they don't need a lawyer, and unless you're actually in a custodial interview, you would have to pay for that lawyer yourself. So, I mean,
Well,
I
think about this. Think they came to my house and they took all these items on the 13th and they told me to come back. You better bet I'd have had a lawyer calling them first, innocent or not. Looked like they were trying to railroad me. Common sense. you know I just said, what was that, Rex? Is that Rex Tillman, or the guy from the beach? Was that Long Island guy up there? I just watched that last night on 48 hours.
mhm.
He kept lying too. He said he didn't kill those women.
Yeah. Well,
His wife was just blown away. She didn't realize it either.
yeah.
I mean, it happens. I mean, how long had this guy been killing? Since 2010? He been killing, and he didn't kill anybody before 2010. I mean, how do we know this wasn't the start of something? Or I mean, like, I just, my problem is that when I told them that I told Angela that Richard Allen was arrested and I believe that they got him, she pretty much sent me a message telling me, no, you don't know what I know. And no, he's innocent. And this was before he ever had attorneys appointed. And then, they started this free Richard Allen and innocent thing, and the website that was supposed to be for the Flora girls, there was all kinds of really bad stuff that they were designing about cunt Judge Gall and this free Richard Allen, and they always knew from day one. I know I talked to them about the Delphi case, but I never ever wanted to be involved with any of that. All I wanted was help with Flora. I just wanted them to help me get the word out and do the same thing that everybody was doing for Delphi.
Yeah. Um, so one thing that just always or that shocked me a little bit was that Dan Doolin had like talked to Richard Allen basically the day before that presser on the 19th.
Mhm.
Um, and so I guess like that made me be like curious about how much like, but I guess you really couldn't tell like what the bridge guy actually looked like or sounded
No,
like. So
I
I
mean,
mean,
I couldn't. I really, literally. And at that point, wait, was on the 19th. What did they release? All that grainy stuff? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm,
yeah,
I mean, I couldn't recognize him. I don't know who else could have recognized him. I mean, I did think it was odd that Kathy never knew that he was out on the platform. I think
yeah,
it's odd that he played pool in a bar with family members to Liberty German and never one time said I was on the bridge that day. Do you not find that odd? Becky's sister was in there all the time. And her niece was the bartender for years and years when Kathy and Richard were going in there. You saw the videos of them in there playing pool. Becky's sister was right in there. There's a picture of Kathy hugging on Becky's sister.
yeah.
So
Well, I
if
mean,
you're that close, wait, you're that close to someone that you're hugging on the person that their nieces were murdered and your husband was on the trail and you told him to go talk to the police, you wouldn't look over at her and tell her that?
I
Why
mean,
wouldn't you tell her that? You were just hugging on her. She's your friend. You're drinking in the bar with her. That's
or that
odd behavior.
did everybody like know like in general who was on the trail that day? Like, was that like something that people
No.
like
Oh,
talked
okay.
about
So,
in town? I'm
look,
just
you had, you had Doug Rice, and you had, mm, oh, what was that? Michael Katz and
uh,
Anthony Greeno. And I was in Doug Rice's group with Julie Melvin and all of them. I got kicked out of there a lot, but he would put me back in there. I really, really respected Doug Rice. He was a great guy. Um, they had names. I mean, we had all those Hannah Shakespeare recordings where they all sit with Doug Rice and all these people and discussed these young girls' names. Yeah, don't ask me how Doug Rice found out. I don't know. I
yeah,
didn't know. I mean, it's not like how's I mean that me or we would all sit at the dining room table and talk about the Delphi case.
yeah,
Or we would go to a restaurant and people would talk about the Delphi case. Or we would be in a bar in Delphi and people would be talking about the Delphi case. That didn't happen.
right,
I mean, we are not I know we wanted, I guess we just had faith and we believed in the police and the process, you
yeah,
know. I mean, that's, I guess, what it was.
I mean, what other choice do you really have? Like,
Well, we could have went on YouTube and started channels and speculated, gave our opinions, and I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
it's okay. It's
you can
Dude,
you can boot me off your show any
I would
minute.
never, Kathy. I honestly would never. Like, um, you have
I
every right to say how, like, however you feel is like, you have every right to those feelings, and I would never silence you. You are free to
I
speak whatever you want to.
No, I like people think that I'm on one side or the other. Like everybody has these sides after, what happened with me and Tara and Angela, or everybody had these sides before. I mean, the people just don't realize, I started out with this person. And the
Mhm.
next thing you know, these people are mad at each other, and I have no idea why. I don't know why. Nobody will tell me. Everybody just lied to me all the time. Lied to me all the time. Just literally lied to me. I'm not sure why, because I'm a very honest person, and it got so bad that when Tara and I talked, I screamed at her all the time, literally all the time. you know um it was very, very, very stressful situation for me. you know
Yeah.
um I I met a lot of great people in the process of this,
Hmm.
and but I'm not like this troll farm person, or I'm not this not person. I'm not a YouTube person. I'm
Hmm.
a person that lived in Delphi, that reached out to somebody, which was Matt Sullivan, because he posted the Flora Girls um autopsy reports in a Facebook group, and it freaked me out. I never seen those before, didn't know where they came from.
Hmm.
So I immediately reached out to him. And then the next thing you know, Angela Sadlowski's reaching out to me. And yes, we did have a friendship. Yes, she did do things. I mean, the Christmas of, what is it, 21, her and that Reggie Dunlap guy, which I don't even know who he was, um helped buy Christmas presents for Galen's, nephews and things. And so yeah, there was all of that. But it got to the point when Richard Allen was arrested, they they just like forgot about what they were helping me with. I had to beg. And I know that Angela put out here recently that she wrote the letter to the attorney general. Well, yes, she did write that, because between her and Sue Wright telling me what to do, I thought that's what I had to do to get the money back, you
Hmm.
know? And so Angela wrote the letter. I leave my house at 7, I get home at 5:30. You know, I work 5 days a week. I have 4 grandkids and a husband. So I'm very busy. So
Hmm.
when, somebody offers to do that, when and she told me, I mean, she's very articulate and how she spoke and everything. So yeah, she knew what I needed, you know, and
Yeah.
I never contacted the board where her nursing or her license or whatever she was, my name, I've never contacted anyone against her. So I saw that in a post, somebody sent it to me. Never have I ever caused anyone to lose anything. Matter of fact, my credit was fucking screwed with. Good thing I had a credit monitoring service. My all kinds of stuff after that fight happened to me. So, I I was just really disappointed, that it was free Richard Allen, and how about the Flora Girls?
Yeah.
I mean, they when they came, her in Yellow Jacket or whatever for the, what they call that? Yep.
Groundswell.
Yeah. I mean, I tried. They wanted me to go, but I'm just telling you, I was pretty much over it then. just over it, you know, just tired of people telling me what to do and being used. That, I mean, just literally used, you know, I mean, the people in my community that was used just for information, you know, and just so you know, when I came here 24 years ago, I raised my kids out there at the compound. Case X, Amy will let you know because she's been out there. But, you know, that's where I raised my children at, you know, part of the community. It's not a compound, it's a trailer park, okay? And so sorry, those fucking people are poor. That's another thing I get tired of hearing about, people talking about my community like they know.
Yeah.
I mean, would you be able to sit around and let people talk about your community?
I'm
And, and
I
they don't.
I couldn't tell you how I would react in a similar situation. Um and I'm always one who tries to like look at people's intentions, but I could see how you guys would be frustrated with people like assuming certain things about different people and such. And yeah,
I mean, really. I mean, like it's like when there's people in the YouTube community that knows more people than me or knows more people than somebody that's lived here all their life, there's a problem. Or they know all these people that been has been murdered around the area because they want to put it into the Delphi case. Was it Karina McClurkin? Is that her name? The
yeah,
girl from
Karina,
Kokomo.
yeah,
And then now the Ashley Garth and Garrett Kurtz, you know, of course Garrett did it, and you know, I've known the Paladinos for a while. I knew them back 24 years ago before I got clean on meth, you know. So, you know, it's not like they're not murderers, these people. You know, what happened with Garrett and Ashley, believe was a mistake, is what I believe. I don't believe they meant to kill Nicole Bowen. I
right.
believe it was a drug rage, is what I believe.
Yeah, well,
Jealousy and a drug rage is what I believe. Do I believe that the case has probably been screwed up because of the attorney, the appointed attorney that was on the case? I think so. I believe so. But do I think that law enforcement did this or caused, or, you know, there's some sort of cover up of that too, or a cover up of, I just, it's so far fetched for me.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'm
It's
not gonna
like,
comment.
I,
I'm not gonna
I,
comment on any of this stuff because I feel like, uh,
I struggle from point A to Z, how you corrupted all these people and nobody's saying anything. I
yeah,
just I still have a hard time. I'm still struggling with why Richard Allen or Kathy Allen never in 5 years said one word in that bar to those families. Not one word.
yeah,
I mean, people talked about it. If people were on the bridge that day, I'm sure the police knew, or you know what I'm saying, or like if you're friends with the family, wouldn't you like tell them you were there?
I I honestly, I mean, I'm assuming that they like knew that about the
But they didn't
three
know
girls
Richard
that
out. Do
were
what?
friends or whatever. Well,
I mean,
yeah,
no
I
one
have
knew
no
until
idea.
the tip came. So you're standing in the bar arm in arm and we're drinking, even drunk. Nobody said, hey, I was on the bridge that day. I went to the first platform, or I was looking at my stock ticker, or I seen three girls, or all the stuff that they're saying.
Yeah.
None of that. He said none of that to no one. Kathy Dan Doolin. Oh, and wait, wasn't honest with Kathy. He told Dan Doolin one thing and Kathy something else. So,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
so that, I
So,
mean, it's two conflicting stories because that's what Kathy said when she went into the interview room. So, I mean, I'm assuming she was being honest when she went in there crying and shaking and was very upset.
well, I think that she had been talking to Jerry beforehand, so like I don't know like what they would have been talking about beforehand. So I like Cassie as far as anybody's concerned about like her being like knowing or whatever, I genuinely think
Oh,
she
I don't
definitely
think
had
she
no
knew.
idea.
I think that was a genuine question when she asked him. I think she was genuine on saying, well, you didn't tell me you were on the platform. I think that was genuine. I don't think Kathy knew. Just like the woman last night of that guy that killed all the other women. I don't think she knew either. I
Yeah.
really think I think Kathy's been influenced.
Well,
Okay. I'm
for
just
sure,
saying.
like I know that cops like the
And
I
not
don't.
just the cops. I mean, after I look, so look, they find this evidence, they arrest him. So Kathy stayed in the community. She lived in the house. She didn't work because, from what I've heard, and I think I heard that from her or somewhere, somebody said that they didn't want her to work because they didn't, feel safe for her there or whatever. Okay, but she still stayed in Delphi. She went to the grocery store. She went to the gas station. She was in and out. She visited the neighbors next door. The neighbors next door go to church. I believe she went to church with them. I think that's who she goes to church with anyway. I mean, she still visits them. She was there right after Christmas. So, she was still out and about. She had no fear for her life or nothing. While the whole time Richard Allen is in jail, you know, Kathy's still living her life here, you know. And then wait, and then they go to court and it comes out that he admitted to it. Kathy put her house up for sale and she was gone. House sold in a week. Nobody got to go in and look at it.
Yeah.
She sold furniture and everything.
Yeah. That would, I mean, that would be definitely challenging to
Hmm.
be his wife or whatever.
Hmm. I believe that. I believe that. But, to me, I mean, at court, the daughter sit on one side and Kathy sit on the other. They didn't even speak. People watched that. People, I mean, those people that were there for court didn't watch the demeanors of Kathy and her daughter, and how their daughter didn't even look at Richard Allen in that courtroom.
Yeah. Um,
For me, everybody picks on what the cops did, but nobody talks about these things. Kathy's a grandmother. Didn't look like they weren't communicating. They were setting, you know, the daughters never came out and said anything. My dad is innocent.
yeah.
I've
Well, I
never
mean,
heard Kathy come out and say it.
yeah.
I've never heard that.
I don't blame anybody for like wanting to stay out of the limelight, especially as far as like
But
that is.
the thing of it is, look at the Daybell case. Look at all the family out there. Hey, Cody's got a YouTube channel. The son of Lori Daybell, he's got his own YouTube channel. I don't
Mhm.
blame anybody if the man's guilty and they know it and they feel it. I'd be quiet too. But look at all these families that speak out. But Kathy doesn't. Kathy's daughter, Kathy's mother, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, George from down the road, their friends. Who speaks up for Richard Allen besides the YouTube people? Oh, and wait. That attorney that drives me nuts. I'm not even going to say his name. And it's not Brad Rossi. Those are the ones. But they've been convinced of this narrative that's not true. It's just not true. I mean, so when the Frank's memo came out, and we're talking about Patrick Westfall and all that stuff. I mean, that was really fast that they got through all those documents and found that, the attorneys, without any help.
Well,
Oh
I
shit.
I
That's the
believe.
same shit that Tara was sending me. God damn it. I shouldn't have
Well,
said anything.
I
That's the
think.
same crap I got on my phone that she was sending me to tell me Patrick Westfall killed the Flora girls.
Well,
Fuck.
Kathy, I think that Todd Click wrote to McClellan, and that's where they got that information from. And
They already knew about it. They already knew about it. That you do these I have it on my phone. They presented it to me. So you don't think when Angela and them went to there and they met with the attorneys and they met with Matt Hoffman that they didn't tell them all this stuff, or this wasn't presented to them. It was presented to me. I had Matt Hoffman call me and ask me what I thought.
well, Click had sent that to McClellan before the attorneys were even appointed. So, um, as far as where the attorneys got it from, I think that's where they got it from. But I
But
have
they
no
dug
idea.
it up out of where? I mean, I'm sure it was right on top, right on top, right on top. It was the first thing. But wait, didn't we sit and complain and complain and complain about all the megabytes of stuff that they couldn't go through? But boy, they had that right up front. Hmm. Huh. It's remarkable. Very remarkable. It just, to
So,
me,
did you follow the whole trial of Richard Allen?
yes.
And then,
Hmm.
so when
I went
when
almost
everybody was
every day. I
waiting,
went the first day. Huh?
when everybody was waiting for the verdict,
Mhm.
what were your thoughts like during that time when everybody was like waiting, that anticipation?
Oh, I was at work. So I wasn't there. I was there the Friday before and then dropped some signs off that Saturday. um I my I was excited. I was happy. I was excuse me. I was ecstatic that they found him guilty, and that it wasn't like this hung jury. It wasn't this jury that was split. Um, that, I feel like that the defense, if they believed in their client, could have put on a better case.
Was that the feeling in town? Was Did people think that it was going to be a guilty verdict, or was there like were people fearful that it was going to be a hung jury, or um was there like a
Oh,
general
there was a
consensus
consensus
within the
that
community?
both ways. It was like a half and half. And then I think, right, as after Tom Webster put that stuff out, o- after the full video of the girls on the bridge, I started seeing a little bit more change in people. You know what I'm saying? And then the videos that Tom Webster put out, um, I think that a little more confirmed it, that now we have the full sentence, and then we hear now what the jury heard, Richard Allen's voice in the confessions and everything. Just completely sealed it for me.
The voice did.
Hmm. Completely sealed it for a lot of people I know.
Yeah, I
I
still
mean,
just
I work with
don't
a
know.
guy that I'll tell you what, he just argued with me all the time about it, and now he's convinced.
Yeah.
Convinced. Hmm.
So even after the verdict came in, the town was kind of split on like the results of it. Is that
I think so.
fair
Yeah.
to say?
I mean, we still had all the I mean, we still have all the negative stuff going on. There was no, like, I was there, and then Jinx was there, and a few other people were there, but everybody else on that whole sidewalk on the behind the courthouse was there to free Richard Allen. So it was really hard to be happy for the family when you had that.
Do you think that it was a mistake for the judge to not televise the trial? Do you think that that would have helped everybody kind of like accept the verdict more? Or do you think that that's like basically YouTubers are kind of just like instigating this divide? Or like what
I
are
like
your thoughts on
I
that?
don't I don't see prior to this here in Indiana. Okay, I'm just saying here in Indiana, lots of double murder trials being televised. I don't know about you, but I've not seen that.
Well,
Okay.
they didn't. They just legalized that or made it so that it
And
could be
so
televised, right?
we want to make the Delphi case of two murdered girls where those things, we want to make that the first one we put out there. I mean, where we're going to be putting and to me, I believe that the YouTubers, Court TV, those people screwed that up for everyone. That's what I believe. It wasn't us. It wasn't the locals. We
No,
weren't even there.
I don't. I definitely was not saying that it was the
I
locals,
mean,
and
like when you would go to Fort Wayne, it was all the news people and all the YouTube people.
right.
So who caused the judge to kick everybody out? Who did that? What angered the judge? I mean, I was there the day Rick and I, were yelling out in the tundrum over, him telling me that I believe that everybody's corrupt. And yeah, I did think that prior to Richard Allen being arrested. you know. I was told before by somebody, if you say it enough and you keep telling people, they'll believe it. They'll believe it. After a long no, there was just so many signs that, I mean, I have documents, you know, they had documents. This big old folder that Sue found on her car. You wouldn't believe the things I've heard, you know, and then I watch it in real life happen. I literally watch it. I mean, before Richard Allen wasn't arrested, I'm saying that there was this narrative out there that we wanted Mike Thomas to be the sheriff for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, that was who they wanted to be sheriff, was Mike Thomas and not Tony Liggett, and then the Hatch Act was part of trying to keep Tony Liggett from being sheriff. I think the thing was because Mike Thomas was already talking to Angela and them. I don't know who else. I mean, I just know Angela. That he could be sheriff and he could give him more information on the Delphi case.
I that's certainly a possibility.
No, that's pretty much what it was. I have text messages. I mean, I even have some from Mike Thomas, you
Right.
know. Yeah. Oh, no, no. I'm 100% sure. I mean, why would you sue a community for the Hatch Act? Can you help me with a YouTubers or just people from another what was that?
Well, see, I personally feel like that law enforcement should be held to like a higher account than
But
most
but the
people.
Hatch Act was about voting. About him, Hatch Act. Look it up. Had
No,
nothing to
I
do with
I
corruption, had nothing to do with that. Look up what the Hatch Act is.
The Hatch Act is basically like you can't use
You can't be
company
on
time. Like the
and put up
sheriff shouldn't
signs
be.
that they had Dale Seward out there. Oh, Seward, Dale Seward investigations, the guy
Uh-huh.
that's tried to be mayor for the last 15 years and nobody'd vote him in. Go look
Hmm.
at his record. He's got 15 Facebook pages that says mayor, that he wanted to be mayor. And then he had Dale Seward private. And then wait, we had Sharon Milburn, which was his girlfriend. And she's the clerk there at the courthouse. And she was helping get stuff too. hmm Along with the newspaper lady. Yeah. Ron Logan's attorney. Yeah, it's really just, it's a ridiculous bunch of shits what it was. And I couldn't ever figure out when I went on Marv's show with Greeno why I started getting cease and desist letters.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
did you
for
figure that, or
what?
I have no idea.
I mean, what would I know that you would have to send me a cease and desist letter? I thought we were friends, but I got a cease and desist letter from two different people. One went to a lawyer, literally paid a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm a local. I live here. Galen Rose is like my family.
Hmm.
I am extremely angry at what happens and how I was used, how my community has been used. I mean, you realize all these people that come here were only here because they made money off their YouTube channels, or they're doing a documentary, or we're going to write a book, or our pavilion. Everybody. It's all about making money off dead kids. Not you.
Well, I definitely know not me because I don't make money off of it, but like uh
I
yeah,
mean, if I thought people's
I think people
intentions were
genuinely care.
pure, I, there's so many of them. I mean, it's just not this person. It's those people too. It's a lot of people that have come here and taken advantage of the kindness of this community to get what their narrative.
Hmm.
Those are the things I'm angry about. But I know another community member that was literally tortured by these people, you know, because she tried to speak out and speak up. You know, I know another lady that was reached out to by Matt Sullivan, and she was friends with Tony Liggett's election secretary or something like that. And so Becky is best friends with her, and Becky would get the information on what was going on and pass it to Matt, and then they would send fucking Dale Seward over to take pictures of it.
Yeah.
Come on. And this was way before Richard Allen was ever even arrested.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me they did all this in my community, and then when he was arrested, it's all about the police. It's all about the cops. It's not all about the influence that they've tried to put in my community.
Right.
I mean,
So
why would a YouTuber want Mike Thomas to be our sheriff?
um I don't know. Haven't heard too much about Mike Thomas in general.
I got
I
I got
know
I
that
got
he
I
was.
got I got screenshots so I could send them to you. I
No,
sent you a
I
lot
mean
of
I
stuff.
definitely I'm
Yeah,
not.
I mean
I believe that you know a
it's
lot more than
honest,
I do.
all the truth. It's just honestly all the truth. I mean, like people want to talk about all this, what happened with Richard Allen, with the police. I mean, there's a narrative before that ever happened. I mean, why don't we talk about that narrative? Why don't anyone want to talk about what we did? We sued a community because we wanted somebody else to be sheriff. Why? Why? That's my question. Why is this person that lives all the way here, married to this man, suing my community? I mean, come on. I don't understand it. I don't understand that deception. So if you want to talk about the police deception, I want to talk about that deception too, because it's pretty much the same these days. Hell, one of them came and stayed in Monticello, rented a car, and drove around our community for a week, and went right up to Tony Liggett in his face. She admitted to that on a YouTube live, so I'm
Well,
not
I
saying
mean,
anything she didn't
it
do. Isn't that
in my
creepy?
opinion, that the law enforcement, like, they have a responsibility to the community and stuff, and so like
But they don't
um
have a
the indi-
responsibility to YouTube people.
they
They have a
don't, but
responsibility to the people that they protect, us
right.
here, Delphi, our community. And these people here weren't asking those questions until those people started reaching out to them and telling them. How do you think I found out about Patrick Westfall? I didn't know about that man. Had no fucking clue about him. 8 years, 7, 8 years, 6 years, I've been out here pumping the streets back and forth with for Galen Rose. Never heard a word about him until they sent it to me.
Yeah, I
You
think the
know,
law enforcement definitely did a good job of keeping all that quiet about who they were investigating
and
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 stuff like that.
Paradox put something up, and I do want to address that. Tara did not make money off this. I'm just going to say that. That's the honest God truth. Tara McCloskey did not make one dime off the Floor Girls. Okay? I sent her that money that we collected, and then it got sent back to Gay Lynn. Okay? Gay Lynn ended up getting whatever amount of that money was. And then whatever other money there was beautiful vases put there. So I just want to end that. There was no money stolen. I didn't steal no money. Tara didn't steal no fucking money. I mean, there's so many misconceptions, you know,
Yeah,
so
totally.
many, so many. And wait, if Tob Lesenby is crooked, and then the judge was crooked, so would that make the Indiana Supreme Court crooked too?
I loved the Supreme Court of Indiana. I thought that that was done so well, like the that whole argument and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Just the
Mm-hmm.
and the,
Mm-hmm.
like they went hard on both sides, and like
Mm-hmm.
their camera
Mm-hmm.
system was really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that that transparency really helps people to like to calm any like rumors or distrust in government. So I think that that's like
But
one thing.
you're talking government. We're talking a murder trial here.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking a murder trial of two young girls. And if they thought, I mean, think about it. There was a lot of suspects that they came across throughout the years. Ron Logan could have been number one. The man died. They could have just blamed it on him and been done. Why didn't they do that if they're so corrupt?
I don't think that they like
I
took
mean, they could
Richard
have.
Allen and like tried to
I mean, if
frame
they
him.
framed Richard Allen, they damn sure could have framed Ron Logan just the same, just the same. I mean, do I think maybe a right or two might have been violated? Yeah, but let me tell you, it happens all the time, all day long, every day, in and out, this country, this United States, wherever people's rights get violated. Is it right? No, no, it's not right. But it doesn't mean he's innocent. It doesn't mean that. I, I mean, I don't even think he looks innocent to me. I
Yeah.
think he looks guilty. And
um
I think when my My granddaughter told me when she rode her bicycle down there and his driveway was the turnaround, and he said hi to her and she thought it was creepy. Yep, kids get that. Kids have these feelings. And that's what she said. I didn't coax her into saying that. She said, he said hi to me, Nana, and I thought it was creepy.
Yeah, and I think like in retrospect, like if you are looking at somebody with a certain um idea in mind that things that are going to come across creepy, but I I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying he did do
Oh,
it. I have
for
no
my
idea.
granddaughter, she's just like my son. She'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
She will. Okay. She thought he was creepy. Kids have a sense too, just like us. You
Mhm.
know, they have that feeling, you know, and kids are really honest. And this was before this. I mean, like, my granddaughter don't follow the Richard Allen trial. You know what I'm saying? She's very young. But for her to say something like that,
Beth, I don't think
she
it was flowers that were bought. I think it was m- they were vases to put
they were
flowers in and stuff. But
vases for
basically,
the
they are
flowers.
grave
They're
markers. They're
beautiful.
permanent, and they are like I think that it was a
Okay, oh, look.
misunderstanding of
So
what the money was being. I think the money was used for what it was intended to be used for, but there
so
was a
I
misunderstanding on what.
that whole thing was also a lie. Um, I'm like, Tara come and stayed with me. You know, I work. Her and Frosty went to the forest lawn. They went and seen the girls, the graves and everything. I hadn't been there for a little while, so I didn't know anything. I don't know what there was paperwork and it said, it did say headstones, or I don't know what it said. You know, to tell you the truth, they had it all, you know, and it was a misunderstanding because she did say, she kept telling people headstones and this and that, and they didn't need headstones, and she told me, well, it doesn't matter. And then everybody made a big deal about it, and you know, it did matter to people. It did fucking matter that it wasn't headstones, that, you know, it was vases that we ended up buying. So, I mean, even though for her it didn't matter, it mattered to other people. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, she was
I
still doing something that she thought was a good gesture.
and I think it was, and also like shout out to Jinx and
And that
and
rescue, oh man, I love those two.
for going and decorating those during
Oh,
like
they go with
each
me all the time.
holiday and
Oh, we do it all the time.
everything.
All
Yeah,
three of us. Oh,
yeah,
and you know what? I Jinx, you know, and I'm not, I can't be mad. You know, I met Frosty. I met Chris. I met I met Jinx through Tara. Even though I had such a bad experience with Angela and that whole Richard Allen thing and all that, I still had a great experience meeting people, you know. I mean, if it wasn't for Tara, I wouldn't know half you guys. You know, I would definitely would not know Paradise. And that poor guy, after it happened, I pretty much threatened to put him in jail. And, you know, and just the same thing with Prof. You know, I don't know him, never knew him, never spoke to him. But after mine and Tara's fight, he put out that recording of me screaming at her, you know, and it's like, I never done anything to that guy. Never, never. I remember Tara talking about him a lot. And they used to use him, you know, to get out there, whatever. But I never had anything to do with him, you know, never. And even after mine and Tara's fight, then I get involved with dear Lord Frank or whatever from Iceland, that idiot. Next thing you know, I'm talking to Teresa from Criminality. I didn't know her. I'm in a group with Teresa, Becky, Patty, him, Fig. It was like, I just like, it's like this whirlwind of shit that went on, you know? And my credit, I just don't know what happened. All I wanted was support for Flora. And, you know, I got stuck in the middle of this fucking Delphi thing. I ended up sending Frank those pictures, and he sent them to Becky, and now the whole family here just hates me, which I would too. I mean, I can imagine. But through this whole thing, I've learned one thing, that
Yeah.
I'm the only person that can be held accountable for my actions, what I did. Okay. And I have felt really, really bad for getting involved with Angela, Tara, that whole thing. I never wanted to hurt not one person,
Yeah.
not one, you know, and it just seemed like the harder I tried, the worse it got. Okay. I'm just glad that it's over, and I just wish I watched a video yesterday with Gray Hughes and the lady from Culture talk.
Uh, Kathy, I think you cut
Oh,
out for a second.
are you there?
Yeah.
Talking about Captain Howdy and his mental health and what happened. You know, guys, get away from the computer and live a life. For 2 years, when this was going on, I just literally was losing my mind. Okay. And stepping away and getting a little bit of clarity, is the best thing you guys can do. I hate to see another Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
This case has caused so much pain for a lot of people, a lot of people, you know, that I just wish they would just let the appellate courts do their job and just stop, you know, just really stop. No one's right here. We don't have to keep proving our point, whether we're the troll farm or we're the not or we're whoever. You know, we don't have to keep doing that. Richard Allen is in jail. He has some really good appellate attorneys. A lot of people believe he's guilty. 12 jurors of his peers convicted him. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion. That's my truth. You know, I feel like that there was a big influence to those attorneys and a lot of things, the Odins and Patrick Westfall and all that stuff, to try to cast that he's innocent when, I mean, I believe he's guilty. I really believe he's guilty.
Do you believe he received a fair trial as well?
I believe that his attorneys could have did a way better job for him. I think they were too stuck on. I mean, look, Bob Mata sit with Kathy Allen. You know, yeah, it was a. It's. I mean, the first day when I went, I argued with Andrea Burkhart,
Mm-hmm.
about that thing right there about not having cameras in the courtroom. and the transparency. And that's why people are sleeping out on the sidewalks. No, no, bullshit. People are fucking sleeping on the goddamn sidewalks because they were going to do it anyway, whether there was cameras in there or not. I'm just telling you, the sidewalks were going to be full because people were going to want to be in the courtroom to see. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. This case is, I mean, look what happened in Fort Wayne. Lines. There was always lines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a different opinion on that, but like I think that it was important for people to be in the courtroom. I definitely think that it's good that all the information is coming out now because it does give us a better perspective on like the whole thing, seeing the interviews and the video and all of that. Um and then
I just hate
I
to see
I
it
think
mess with people's mental health, you know?
yeah.
I mean, really, really. I mean, this case happened to Anna and Becky and Mike and Derek and Kelsey and Anna's mom and dad. Those are the ones that are completely traumatized and the ones. But when I'm like, I go on YouTube and it's like I feel like I'm in the twilight zone sometimes because people just won't give it up. It's just like, it's just, so obsessive and everybody wants to continue to keep proving their point. What does it matter now? What does it matter now?
Um, do you want me to actually answer that, or is that like a?
Yeah. Yeah.
I I would say I think that the people who don't believe that Richard Allen is the guy believe that they are fighting for, like somebody who's innocent, and I think that the people who like don't agree with that are like fighting for I don't I don't
I
honestly
learned
I
a
don't
long
know. I
time,
can't
and
answer for
I
everybody.
learned a long time ago as a meth addict that nobody's gonna do it for anybody but myself. I'm gonna do it for me, and I don't see Richard Allen working as hard as you guys or Kathy Allen or
Well,
anyone
Richard
else.
Allen can't really
Richard
do
Allen can
anything.
do a lot of things in that prison. Richard Allen has a tablet. There's a lot of things I believe that can happen, just like, I mean, I, and I know that I know somebody that's been in Westfield, a few people, and yeah, it's prison. That's all I got to say. It's
Yeah,
not
I
any,
believe we need prison
honey,
reform as
it's
well.
not
Like,
any, it's not any different than the one in Texas or the one over in Illinois or anywhere else in the whole United States. We
I mean,
definitely need prison reform,
it's getting torn
So
down now.
Richard Allen is not the only person being mistreated.
That is 100% true. I
So
definitely
I
agree with that.
I can't get on that poor Richard Allen bandwagon because it's the prison system. Okay, it's the system. It's not the person. So if you want to change something, go change the system. Go work at
For
that.
for sure.
Don't do 5-hour lives crying and carrying on and blah, blah. Come on, that don't help anything. You know, don't just talk about it. Be about it.
Yeah, I definitely I think that there's lots of things that people do to try to um
Like I can't help somebody that don't help themselves. You know, and I know all you guys say, oh well, this or that. He didn't even ask for a lawyer. He didn't even want to help himself. He's not that stupid. The man was on his phone looking at the stock market. I don't even know the fucking stock market. So you can't tell me he's not intelligent enough to know he needs an attorney.
I mean, there's lots of people who don't ask for an attorney, and this is just my public service announcement. Anything you say, they're not trying to help you ever. They're only trying to use stuff against you. So always get an attorney.
Normally, when you're guilty, you don't ask for an attorney. Normally, when you're guilty.
I
But when you're innocent, you scream the top of your motherfucking lungs and you get an attorney to help you scream that too. And didn't we say, and people say that Kathy had already gotten an attorney? She already hired one. But then I keep hearing people say, well, they didn't have the money, da 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 da. They had a house, they had a home. They had, they owned it. They didn't even have a mortgage on it. They owned it. They weren't delinquent. They weren't like somebody living off the street. He had options. If somebody was going to accuse me of double murder, killing two children, I'd have sold my car, my home, my Traeger grill, you name it. That's why I can't.
yeah.
I mean, I like, hey, when they took me down there and was questioning me, man, I was lying out my ass. Oh my. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. No. She stole the anhydrous tank. I had nothing to do with that shit. Of
Hmm.
course I lied, but I was guilty. I didn't ask for an attorney till they put me in the jail cell. And, and then it was all I did was cry. And then when they took me over to the court, they appointed me one.
Yeah. Hey, Paradox, I don't know if anybody knows this, but it was just recently Paradox's birthday, and I forgot to say happy birthday to him, so I just wanted to take a second to do that as well.
Oh yeah, happy
Birthday,
birthday. I
Paradox.
missed it too.
Happy birthday, Paradox.
Oh, look,
Who's
Hello,
Dan.
that a
Miss
picture of?
Lovely. Billy
Hey,
Butcher.
look, I have nothing against anyone anymore. Dan, it was funny, texted me a couple nights ago when we had our storms, just asking me if we were all right in the tornado. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I
It's
really,
crazy out
really,
there.
I really appreciate that. Just like I was telling Fishy, I've met a lot of wonderful people. Okay, a lot of wonderful people, but I just don't want to be a part of the arguments anymore and the talking about the Delphi case. And I love talking to you, Fishy and Dan, and everyone. I mean, like I'm still in one Discord group, but I'm leaving it too, only because I know in my heart that this is done here. I see it in the community. I hear it in the kids yelling. And if everyone else wants to continue, more power to all you guys. Have fun with it.
Yeah, you
Have
guys gotta
fun.
heal.
Have fun with it. I just don't. I'm busy watching the Lori Valor case right now. That thing's wild. So I just
Yeah,
don't want to
well,
be a part of making the family feel bad again, or any of that. I still have to see these people. My granddaughter plays on a softball team here, and those crazy people threatened to blow up the Abby Libby field, you know and when I literally don't know why I did this, went to Bob Mata standing in line in Fort Wayne, hyperventilated, begged him to help me with my cease and desist letters, and then come to find out he was part of the knot. Really? Really? After I stood and cried to you, dude, you could have just told me right then. You know, you could have said, hey, I can't help you. I'm friends with Angela and those guys. Because I really thought I needed an attorney. Yeah, I thought he was a good guy. Evidently not.
studies also show criminals lie. Yes, they do, I guess.
What they say?
They said studies also show criminals lie.
Yeah. So does everybody. We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Everybody
Yeah, it's
lies.
actually like a
We all
very
do.
high rate. That is what they estimate is that
We all
everybody
do.
lies.
Like, okay,
Mhm.
so wait. What murderer went in and said, "Yeah, I did it"?
I
A
mean,
lot
I'm
more
sure
than you
that
would probably think.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sure that
sure
there
there
is
Depends on
is.
some.
But
it depends on
I'm
the
like
evidence.
most of them, like the one I watched last night. What is his name? Rex Tillman? Is that what it?
Huberman?
Huberman,
Tillman? Whatever his name.
Huberman.
Yeah,
I
well, he
don't
was
know.
on. I think he was on 48 Hours last night. But
Oh no.
I sit and watched that whole thing, and he kept denying it. He said he was innocent. He's innocent too. You know he's
He was
innocent.
on 48 Hours?
Yeah. Was it what was on last night? Dateline or 48
He
Hours?
did an
I didn't
interview?
watch that though.
No, he didn't do an interview.
Oh.
No, they did the case on
Oh.
48. With what's her
Okay.
name? Erin Moriarty. Erin
I was
Moriarty
like,
on
I'm gonna
48.
watch this. Oh man. The real
No, they
estate
didn't touch
agent,
it.
the monster.
No, but look, didn't he keep saying he was innocent too?
Still is.
Yeah, isn't he innocent? I mean, like it's like I really expected the interrogation. I thought Holman was through the whole thing going to be screaming and yelling at him, and really I watched one little thing, one little
Yeah, they
part.
cut out most of it, I think. But we
Who
didn't get
did?
the
Yeah, there's
transcript.
definitely like spots
I,
that cut
I
out.
guess from what Teddy had said, there's like a big yelling match. We got what they got in court, and Gall stopped the tape and read it out. And we don't have that part, I don't think.
Oh, that's what she
I don't
did.
know if that's the case, but I know that's what happened at the trial, and I assume what we got is what they played at the trial.
Yeah. And then I keep reading stuff about Tom. I met Tom Webster at the trial, one of the most honest people I think I've ever met. Such a gentleman. Our community really liked him. He ate in a lot of the restaurants and was very friendly, very forthcoming about what he did, his YouTube. When he tells you that he sent all that like he did that. He got those before anyone else. And I have to say, I'm very glad it was Tom Webster that got all those before anyone else.
I think that maybe there's a problem like that nobody should have got him before everyone else, and they should have just gone out. Like,
Well, the
Somebody
thing,
said last night that it was FedEx. He had it FedExed in the
yeah,
restaurant
he
UPS
paid,
or
he paid,
oh, that totally
USPS
makes sense. Yeah,
he
that would
paid,
be like
did
a
not
because
anybody see that?
USPS
Yeah.
sucks.
He paid the
USPS sucks.
documents. He paid
they do.
$25 for the next day air on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And he sent all that. I mean, that's what he sent. Everybody else is doing it
TikTok.
by USPS. And in Indianapolis, our USPS hub has trucks lined out the back door with packages. So yeah, you guys might be waiting forever for them to come. There is such a backup. Go on the news, put it in Indianapolis. I mean, Dan, you know all about it, right?
Yep. I was just
Hmm.
saying, if he's next day, or I probably didn't touch his
Yeah. See, and
package
next
because
day
it
air, the
wasn't in
thing,
my
whatever it
trailer.
was, next day air goes to Louisville. FedEx goes to Louisville.
I'm not sure where he lives, but it's not something they put in a truck when it's like that. It goes on a plane, and then it
Yep.
unless
Goes
it's
to
quick enough to
Indianapolis,
get.
goes to the hub in Indianapolis, and then it's put on a plane, and then it's flown to wherever, or they go to Kentucky and it's sorted and then flown. But most of the time, it's right out of Indianapolis. They have that hub right there.
And if somebody affiliated with FedEx, even loosely, just go with UPS, guys. Just saying. I don't ship anything with them, and I carry their freight.
So, and Tom, I don't think Tom did anything meticulous or did anything. He wouldn't have done that. I mean, you guys, that first night standing or going up there, and Marv saved and Anthony Greeno saved me a place so I could go in. And I do want to apologize to Julie Melvin. I did lie to her. did sneak Sarah in up next to me. I did lie about that. I did get Sarah in there only because I didn't want to go in and have to sit by myself. But then everybody got mad and was telling on me. Whatever. Whatever. I is the only local that was even gonna come out and even try to go. So, I did lie to her. And Sarah did go with me, and sat next to me the first day. It was, so I and after that I went every day and just watched what happened. Everybody standing outside. And then the U-Haul truck came. That did make some people in town nervous.
Ted
I mean, the
or
last
Timothy
time a
McVeigh vibes.
goddamn, last time a U-Haul truck was parked in front of a motherfucking courthouse, it was in the Oklahoma City
Or
bombing, and kids
Arthur T.
lost their
Murrah building.
lives. Kids lost their lives. I mean, come on, guys. The first couple days, our police was driving around looking at rooftops, and then the next thing you know, here comes a goddamn U-Haul. I mean, come on, people. And then, it was really even funny because you could only park there for a certain amount of time, and everybody had to keep jumping spots and moving their vehicle.
Yeah,
And then that whole side, all their signs was free Richard Allen. I mean, there was really hardly any support for the family. Few people. That's really sad, you guys. It's just really sad that nobody felt safe enough to come out and support the families that we've supported all these years because
Yeah,
we were afraid.
spectacle.
Yeah. I mean, we were going to have a camera shoved in her face. We were going to be asked questions, you know. I mean, we still have lives to live here in this community.
totally.
Is
So,
everything winding
that
down?
was one of my questions was like, do you feel like the the trial brought closure, or is there still like
I can see that it brought closure, especially to the families. I see that.
that's good.
Hmm. I see them on a different basis in different places, and I can see a different look in their face. You know, you can tell. And, you know, for a while it just went on every day on the news here. Every day there was something, every day, Fox 59. And then every time something's released, it's on the news, this news, that news, 6 in the morning. It just like, sometimes you have to shut it all off and just walk away.
Hmm.
I mean, it's still overwhelming and it's over. I mean, it's over for us, but it's not over for you guys. And so it makes it really hard because then, hey, I get it if it's those things, the appellate courts or whatever, but, for it to just continue to be um, put out there the way that it is. I mean, like, just, God, and I do worry about people's mental health. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I
Ethan
think
Howdy,
that
I mean, that right there, and I don't know what else he ever done besides Delphi. And I know that what I listened to yesterday with what she said, that he never left the house and all these things, I do care about these people that I have met in this community. And one thing, just like you said, don't talk to the police, get a lawyer, get some mental health people, go outside, get a breath of fresh air, enjoy life.
yeah, totally.
There's more out there than just free Richard Allen. Way
Yeah,
more, way
for
more.
sure.
I
Touch
get,
grass. Yeah, totally touch grass. That's like an important thing.
yeah, I get a cause. I get this, but
when it affects people in the way that it has affected people in this case. I mean, we've seen husbands and wives split up. We've seen a lot of things happen in this community that makes you want to step back and say, fuck, man. I spent 2 years, guys, in the clouds, and my family thought I was literally losing my mind, screaming at Tara and yelling and fighting and everything that happened. It was very overwhelming for me. I never experienced anything, you know, and I just can't imagine what anybody else is going through, you know. I love so many people in this community, and I hope you all know that. And I hope you all stay safe and, you know, give these families the time that they need to heal through this, whether he's guilty or innocent. People do need some sort of closure and to move forward. You know, that's all we ask, is to just let us have that.
Yeah. And I think that that's like I guess probably a challenge in our justice system, but like also um it's I think it's also to be expected with the information coming out right now. I think after this release of information, will probably settle a lot. Just
There's
because
there's a
it's
lot
like,
of way to make a difference in this world. A lot of ways, you know. I I thought that I was gonna try to make a difference and see, you know, with Galen and try to, but you know what? I couldn't. You know, I'm just a person. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a super person. I'm just a normal person, you know, and the things that I can do is I can support her, I can love her, you know, but I can't solve this crime, just like I couldn't solve Delphi either.
yeah, yep. But also, like, I don't know. I think that as people, we can make a difference, but
We can. We all can. Every one of us can make a difference. You know, just talking about these people, these cases, talking about them in positive ways, you know, keeping them out there, keeping them alive, you know, crazy talk gets us nowhere beside the insane asylum. I mean, come on. It's just, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and what happened to humanity? What happened? Where did it go?
I think it's still alive and well, and I think that maybe that would be a good point to like what can like we do to like just the next person you see to like make their day a little bit brighter. If it's like
Mhm.
pay for the person behind you, or like just give like pick a flower and give it to somebody,
Go
anything
do
like that.
something
Just
selfless.
be nice to
Drive, get in
people.
your car, drive up to the and decorate a grave that you don't know, a kid's grave for ease. I don't know. Do whatever. Do what I mean. Whatever. You know, there's things that we can do that doesn't include 5 hours talking about Delphi. I cannot imagine losing 5 hours of my life talking about Delphi. Plus, there's not that much in this town to talk about. I mean, we could go up to the office and I can tell you who's there. Nobody today. It's Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Bail them out of jail. Aspen, that's a whole nother thing. The bail system in America is it's also needs to be worked on, but I won't get on that soapbox and preach.
That there's a lot that we could do as a society that we don't do, that we're too busy fighting against each other over who's right and wrong. If you guys think about it, the news is only opinions. It's a little bit of facts and mainly opinions. A little bit of facts, mainly opinions.
Hmm.
You know, the last time we really got the news was Walter Cronkite.
I
The
don't
real
even
news. I
I
know
don't
you're
even
too
know who
young.
that is, but
Dan probably knows. I'm just making a
Yep.
joke. I'm just making a
Dan
joke.
knows everything. Honestly,
He does.
he's a wise guy.
I
Yeah,
don't think there's.
I hate to tell you, the CIA and all them were giving him info too. We've never
What?
had the news. Our
Uh,
newspapers of all. It's the internet age, though. This is a symptom of
it
we
is. It
we
is.
blew into this social media all the time thing, and nobody. There was never a time where people could learn etiquette or anything. I mean,
Well,
geez,
there's
look
like,
at video games. When I was a kid, if you're not getting called the hard R or the F words and all this, just walking into a chat room for Call of Duty back then, and this is the group that's. I mean, we're between 25 and 40 years old now. Like it, it's a
Oh,
wackadoodle thing that society never had time to learn how to do. We
I
learned
could
how
tell
to
you from
interact.
1 minute to the other, I couldn't tell with all these people that I know who was mad at each other and why they were mad and what happened. Just like with Noe, I don't know him. I met him. I'm not gonna let him attack Jinx. I mean, come the hell on, okay? But I don't have no bone in that fight. And the same thing with Four Pits, Josh Johnson. I told you 24 years ago I got busted for meth. Well, Josh Johnson used to buy precursors for my friend Lisa that was making the meth. And, because,
allegedly. I'm just
yeah,
joking.
no, that ain't no allegedly shit. He was. And, I don't know why the guy hates me. I have no clue. After that recording came out from Prof, that guy sent me threatening messages. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Because I'm on the troll farm. What the fuck? Dude, I had nothing to do with, like, don't care about you. Same thing with Prof. I literally didn't know the guy, don't care about the guy, don't care about what he does in his life. Don't care. My give a fuck meter left a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that's like just try to focus on the positive. If people are negative in your life, just try to like cut them out, block them, talk to them less, push out the bad people and pull in the people that make you feel good and like capable and
Mhm,
are positive, and
mhm,
just try to like be more like just do nice to things for others and just be nice to each other.
mhm. I wish that was the YouTube community, but it's not. And,
If you
and
have the urge to be mean, be funny.
I am so grateful that you let me come on and cry and talk about and I came to talk about Delphi, but I know I said a few things about other people. You know, the reason I say it is because I can't say it enough. The influence that they had on these attorneys, this investigator Matt Hoffman, the things that were told, and it just, I mean, like, I can't believe that you can influence something and it turned into what it did. I mean, like, look how much money people raised for Richard Allen.
Yeah, I think
I mean, like, I'm
a
blown
friend of mine
away.
and I.
The man could be a double murderer. We don't know that for a fact. We don't know, but we raised all that money. I'm blown away. I'm literally blown away.
Well, I think it's important for people to get a fair trial, and if you don't have like experts and stuff, that could definitely be a detriment.
But the state was
So
paying for all those. The state would have paid for those, I'm sure. And I don't think they could have used the money. And plus, I mean, my God, he could have been a murderer. Nobody raised that kind of money for Galen. Nobody raised
That's
that kind of money. Nobody raised that kind of money for the lady over here that just lost her house and she's homeless, staying in a hotel with her kids. She's got a real nice GoFundMe out there with $250 in it.
yeah, it definitely eyes are like
But
an
man, we were
important part
raised
of like that. Like you can raise a lot of money.
for
Like
experts, for somebody. I mean, like, I guess I just, oh, and then another one used the hashtag that the families always used and then act like yeah, and then make a joke of it.
I wonder
Please.
what happened to just never mind. I'm just gonna save that for a different time.
What, the
But
money? I don't know whatever happened
the
to all that
reward
money.
money or whatever. I was just wondering, just a thought in
Oh,
my
the
head.
reward money?
Did
Yeah,
it go to the park?
Yeah.
did it?
Yes.
Yes. That Shank lady said to take it to the park,
Yep.
right,
It sure did. That foundation
Kathy?
and everything, it sure did.
Hmm.
Because that was so
Do
in
you
the
know how
state of
much the
Indiana.
total was?
No, not really. In the state of Indiana, they start you out at a $5,000 reward, and that is what the state of Indiana says. I don't even know if they have that anymore. And then from there, they're promised to pay.
Bring Elf on.
So I don't know how much money the ball field got because sometimes in those where you're giving money for a reward, unless someone's arrested, I don't think you have to pay for it. I know there was thousands and thousands of dollars sent, but I don't know about the promise to pay money if they ever got that.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. But it was held by
Because
like
there,
it
I mean
wasn't the
that
state of Indiana. It's actually a private nonprofit that is like has the same name basically. It's like a foundation um for I forget exactly what it is, but so I'm not going to speak on it because I don't really know. But
Yeah, I could have swore Tara called about it a lot and that it was part of the Indiana State Police.
it's like an offshoot of like them, but it's actually not through the state, I don't believe. But nonprofits are a little bit like tricky in the way that they work, so I don't really
Well, the
understand
money,
their
the
workings.
reward, the $5,000 reward money is a promise money too from the state of Indiana. That's not money they give out. That is, if someone is arrested, they give you that money. Like, you know what I mean? They don't
Uh-huh.
just, yeah.
Thank you.
So when we collected the money for the floor four reward, there's a lot of things that can be done with that money and the way that it's distributed. Okay. We literally collected funds. Okay. We had no promises to pay for the reward except for the $5,000 that the state of Indiana said they had. And we did not have that money. The floor four committee, we didn't have that money. The state had that, and it was a promise to pay if somebody was arrested. And that was the same thing that happened in the Abby and Libby case with the Colts and what Jim
Pat
Irsay
McAfee.
and Pat McAfee. Those are promises to pay. They didn't dish out that money to
No,
no
yeah,
account.
those are, but like there was a lot of money that was actually sent in and raised in that way, and they definitely do
So
have that
so
money.
if we go with, I thought there was what, 250, $350,000, something like that. But if you take away the promise to pay money, what they get, 100,000?
I have no idea. They didn't really make it transparent how much that they
Because
got.
it's a, yeah, I'm one, well, because it's a non-for-profit and it
Didn't the
went
feds have
back
a
into the
reward too?
park
Oh, we're
and
doing it again. We're doing it
What?
what?
again. Go. You said you didn't want to talk about it for 5 hours.
Oh no. Okay, so but yeah,
We're
we're
doing it
ending
again.
it on the with the sentiment of be nice to people, get out there, touch some
Mhm.
grass, and
Mhm.
do something nice for somebody else.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Talk to
Exactly.
a loved one you haven't talked to in a
And
minute.
the park is a beautiful place, just so you know. Oh, and it's getting prettier every time I go out there. They're doing more to it, and I have to tell you, the family kills themselves out there mowing, and they're in the concession stands, and they do all the work themselves.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, they
So
do.
Are you
if you're
guys
in the area, go to the park and say what's up.
Oh, it's
are you
beautiful. You
guys
fly a kite. Go fly a
are you
kite out
guys
there on the mound.
Yeah,
are
go
you,
fly a kite.
shoot, are you guys turning back into a regular town? Is it ever gonna be
Dan, we're
normal?
ending it right there where he said we were ending it.
Dan,
Oh no,
Dan,
I was trying to ask that
Dan,
earlier. What?
I feel like it is back to a little bit more normalcy. Okay. I do feel a little more the community. Yes, 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 I do.
Amazing.
I do. And no matter what happens, okay, no matter what happens, he has appellate attorneys, even though I think he's guilty as hell, and what's going to happen is what's going to happen, and if we think that it happened to him and it was wrong, then let's fight for it not to happen to the next person instead of continue to go on and on and on and on. And it went left, it went right, it went up, it went down. Who gives a fuck?
Okay.
you
And
know let's go help someone else. I mean, you guys, not me. I could care less.
okay, so Kathy, thank you very much for coming on.
No,
And
thank you
I have
guys.
to go to the bathroom very
Yeah,
badly.
me too. I got to go to bed because I have to go to work tomorrow. It's
So
past my bedtime. And thank you guys. Thank you, thank you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
okay, love you, Kathy, and
Love you
love you,
Love
Dan.
guys.
you, Cassie. Love you,
Bye.
Fishy. You guys
Bye.
behave yourselves.